exchange to change. Fame came with the chain. You get straight for a stain. You about to crash out your lane.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we have another news roundup of sorts. Everything that's discussed in this video won't be news. Some of it is just interesting topics and interesting discussions that was taking place across the community. But I will start off with some of the news bangers. Before we dive into this discussion, please be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you're on Twitter, follow me on Twitter as well. Those three things and you're a rock star. Let's jump into the discussion. The first thing that I want to talk about, it may not seem that important at first, but really it is. Nibel, aka Nibelian on Twitter, is a very respected member of the gaming community. I followed this account, and on many different occasions, Nibelian was the source that I went to for talking about Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken. The reason why I wanted to mention this in the video is because this is a great loss to the entire gaming community, not just the Tekken community. But I would need even more help from you guys. This was a big source and it's now gone, right? So if you find any discoveries, tweet me on Twitter, DM me, comment on a YouTube video, whatever means necessary to get the information across. And by the way, thank you to a lot of people who've been doing so. The next thing, I discovered this from Eris's Twitter, Avoiding the Puddle. Hey amigos, the One Esports Fight Tokyo Invitationals takes place on November 19th and the 20th. One thing that I do want to say about this is it's not affiliated with the Tekken World Tour. This is just going to be a banger of a tournament. I did see they have an online portion, but the online portion has nothing to do with the invitationals. The invitationals is 100% offline. Cross our fingers that Knee and Arson Ash are both in this event, because that fight has been eluding us all year. November 19th to the 20th. I want to jump into some tweets from Harada. We have more mysterious, mind-boggling tweets from him. Translated from Japanese to English, it says, well, there are a lot of people who make character requests after seeing the announcement of the new game teaser or trailer, but it's already too late. Come to think of it, in the case of movies, I don't think there are many people who tell the director what they want from the cast after watching the first trailer. This is an impression that has no statistical basis. And basically what he's saying is, so Tekken 8 got confirmed, right? Tekken 8 got announced. And a lot of people are starting to say what characters they want and don't want. And I was already saying this back when people were still wanting season 5. I was saying right now is the time to request your characters. Once they show that first trailer, it's probably too late. And Harada is saying the same thing now. The base roster is probably already decided. Like, the game isn't probably done, right? They're probably still designing all these things, and they're probably having their gaming engineers flesh out the game, but they probably already have the list of characters they want for base roster and possibly DLC. And I really don't see the community changing that. But the part in here where it says request after seeing the announcement of new game teaser, movie, or trailer, that part confused people. A lot of people was like, movie, teaser, trailer? What are you talking about? Tekken Gamer says, hey Harada, is this Tekken 8 related? Are you saying the whole cast is already planned out? If so, the development of the game may be further than we realize. Tekken Gamer is trying to get concrete information. Harada did not respond to this, but I think this is pretty much confirmed. Like, the base roster, that's the thing, the base roster for the game is possibly, I don't want to say the easiest thing to do, but it's the most statistical thing to do. Like, if you see the last 2 words of Harada's tweet, statistical basis. The Tekken devs keep talking about stats and statistics, and that is what they use to do everything, which is why on this channel, when I talk about characters, I use the stats and the statistics that is available, because that is the same metric the devs go by, right? So the final thing I will say about this tweet, because we have a few others that's also talking about characters and whatnot, I seen one comment on a video where I was talking about polls. A poll that has 10,000 votes cannot represent 9 million players, and that's something that I don't say it all the time because I don't want to be repetitive, but that is a fact. You can have 20,000, 100,000 votes, but that would not represent the whole Tekken community accurately. We have another character request here. There was a character request in the last video that I was talking about where someone wanted a high school female character, and it was just the weirdest thing ever. We have another person kind of doing the same thing. Hello Harada-san, please make a Colombian girl character for Tekken 8. I don't know what's happening over there in Colombia, but you guys are not putting on the best face for your country. This whole Colombian girl high school stuff, it's weird, bro. Just stop asking Harada about Colombian characters. You guys are just ruining it. You're ruining it. Harada responds, yes, don't worry about it. You can see how Harada is just over it. I think Harada's a genius. Instead of saying no, or instead of saying why would I do this or why would I do that, you ask for a character now and Harada is just gonna say yes. Don't worry about it. You got it. And then move on with his day. And honestly, this is the best way to go about it. People are relentless with the characters they want, and it's really not a reason, it's no reason to fight or to put up a fight. Do like Harada does, just say yes and move onwards. Taking a break from Harada's tweets, I have a few more, but let's divert our attention elsewhere. A tweet from Arson Ash. He's back at it again talking about Claudio. And this tweet is exactly why I don't really focus on balancing of Tekken 7. One, the game is over. They're not going to fix DLC. They're not going to flip the tier list. All that stuff is done for. But Arson Ash has been fixated on Claudio getting nerfed. I don't know if it's because he got 6-0'd. I don't know if he's labbing the character. I don't know what's happening. Every once in a while he just tweets out, this move is OP, this move is broken. This tweet says Claudio SS4 should be -13 at least. Now whether you agree with him or disagree, I agree. I think Claudio is a very powerful character. Statistically, he is the best character out of the base roster. The only characters who are better than Claudio statistically is DLC. I think it's OP. But the first time Arson Ash was tweeting about Claudio being nerfed, Shadow showed up, the Claudio main, and said stop. This time, Rip responds and says Zafina's while standing 1-2 should be -14 at least. Arson Ash responds and says Law down 4-3 must be -14. And then he corrects himself and says down back 3. Well, this is why, even though they're just like having some friendly banter, I think this is what the community really does. Like when you are trying to make a point about a character being powerful or a character being OP, someone will look at your character and find something that's too powerful, too strong, and then they will say, well, this for your character should be broken or it should be nerfed. A lot of the times in the past when I tried to explain the problems with the game, people will say, how can you complain about this and you're a Yoshi main? How can you say this and Yoshimitsu does this? It's really crazy how fixated the community is on buffs and nerfs. People will say a game like Tekken 3 or Tekken 5 is the best of all time, but when you go back to those games, they had some of the most busted characters imaginable. I think in Tekken 4, Jin was like OP like crazy. In Tekken 5, I think Steve had a infinite where he would sidestep to your left and just infinite. If Tekken 3, 5, or 4 was remastered, Twitter would just be complaining about nerf this, nerf that. But this is why I don't talk about balance, because I think it goes nowhere. The conversation literally goes nowhere. Going back to Harada's tweets. Another tweet says, cosplay nurse uniform medicine box hospital illustration. Many of the Red Cross symbols you see on the streets are misused. The Red Cross marks can basically only be used by organizations stipulated by law such as the Red Cross. Harada responds and says, in arcade version of Tekken 5 and 6, I remembered that the Red Cross mark was used for Nina's costume, nurse uniform, and I received a lecture from the official and immediately corrected. The reason why I want to mention this is because you just see how the developers will create a character and they will do something simple, and then an official will say, no, you can't do that. A lot of people still are confused. I don't know how people are, but a lot of people still are confused about how PETA can stop Roger from being in the game. I'm not going to explain it. Just look it up, read the news articles. It's a lot of them. But when they're creating these characters and they're creating these designs, there is hoops they have to jump through. Not only age ratings like mature, rated teen, all that stuff, but then actual officials from different countries, different regions. And that's why sometimes you can't do the actual character that you want unless you overhaul them completely, which Harada sometimes fights against. Sometimes when you make a character and they don't let him make it the way he wants, he will scrap the character altogether. That's something he was gonna do for Josie. I made a whole video talking about that. You can go watch it, you can go search it up, but it is a reality when designing characters. The final thing I'll talk about. I seen a post on the Tekken subreddit which says, "No more joke characters, please. They're a waste of character slot. No, F off, bring this guy back." So basically what you have here is them quoting the typical angry Tekken phrase or whatever. Joke characters ruin the game. I know I was just talking about Roger Jr. and how that character was supposed to be in Tekken 8 or Tekken 7. I don't know why they didn't go with Alex. Maybe that character can show up in Tekken 8. But one thing that I do know about Tekken in general is that joke characters are necessary. When you remove all of the jokes, all of the gimmick characters, what end up happening is other characters who are not supposed to be that become that. Even though these characters may not have the highest of usage, it does have an effect over the whole game as a whole, because this is the thing about fighting games. Even when you talk about like games like Overwatch, basically any game where personalities define characters. Every character has a different purpose and a different reason for being on the base roster. If not, you would just go back to the days where it's Ryu in white and then Ryu in red. A roster is supposed to be diverse, not just for diversity, Twitter, but it's supposed to be diverse because everyone wants something different. Even if it's only 500 people, that doesn't mean that the character should be cut out completely. Because like I said, what that character stood for and represented will be pushed into other characters, and you may not like the changes that is applied because of it, right? One thing that I learned over the past 2-3 years of doing YouTube is to just, I was gonna say keep my mouth shut, but it's kind of funny because I do YouTube and I talk all the time. But the reason why I would say it that way is because I used to have all of these demands about other people's character. It kind of becomes ironic in a sense because you wouldn't want someone saying remove your character or nerf your character, but to do it back, it's like treat people how you want to be treated, basically. Short and simple. I try to talk about other people's characters with the same respect as if I was talking about Yoshimitsu or Zafina, right? That's basically what I try to do. And when you're doing that, you can sort of have a better understanding overall. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you everyone for watching, for listening, for subscribing. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.